On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we talk about both kinds of ditties, the pea
and the dragon. Let's do this. Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz.
And this week we're going to talk about Season 6, Episode 12.
Like a virgin. Hey!
Touch for the very first time. All right. Yeah, there we go.
I wish I had on some fingerless gloves right now.
Yes.
I just can go in the next room and get some out of the drawer.
You own some.
Of course I own yes. I mean, I'm just surprised I'm not wearing them right now, but they don't go with my t-shirt, so.
Reasonable. So what are you up to, Liz?
You know, just learning how to be a better criminal. So, you know, I'm also just starting to feel like, and maybe it's because I read a lot of mythology, like I'm one of those terrible Greek figures that has to like go through like trials, but they're just like the stupidest trials that like have ever been created. And so this weekend, my trials included, what do you do if an electronic gate, all of this is closed and your clicker doesn't work? How do you manually open a giant electronic gate?
Yeah. The
answer is clearly on YouTube, which I should have done for the first part because like I called like my brother and he was like, oh, you have to like pull this thing. And I was like, what? And then my mom was like, we must find a man, because that's her answer to everything. So we drove down to the neighbor's house. I'm like, well, their gate's shut. I don't know if they're home. I don't give a shit. I don't want to talk to people. I just did that to make my mom happy. And like drove back up to the gate, and then finally it was like, I'm just gonna YouTube this shit. I'm like, that's what you mean. And yeah, it's stupid easy to break into those. I had no idea. I thought it was maybe they just like don't tell anybody how stupid easy it is, so nobody does it. But holy shit, once I figured that out, that took me like 0.5 seconds.
Yay, security.
Yay, security. And I also learned about manually opening electric garage doors that no longer work. And then that if you do that, they're probably a lot lighter than you think they are. So you should be careful about how hard you push them when they go up, because they will bounce back and all the grossness that's on the bottom of that garage door will fall on top of your head.
Yeah.
It will real gross. So I learned that. Yeah. So I've learned some lessons this week and I'm good. I'm learning.
Lessened up.
Yep. I feel like I should pass like whatever trial that is. Like, do I get something like a belt?
I mean, it's like two different types of like gates that you successfully
like there should be like some prophecy about like the scarlet the scarlet gates. Woman crosses the gates of the beast or something. Yeah. There you go. That could be part of my cult. All right, it has been foretold. So what about you?
So we went and saw Renfield first of all, which I don't go to the movies a lot. Like I enjoy movies and things, but I just don't.
Who does? No one goes very often anymore.
Well, some people do.
I'm jealous of those people. They have better lives than I do.
Well, it was deeply enjoyable. So yeah, strong recommend. I really loved it. But I also am reminded what a goddamn genius Nicolas Cage is. I don't care what people say.
and then also, how did you accessorize?
Oh, of course I wore my vampire teeth, because how often do you get to pop in your silver vampire grill? In my daily life, not very often. So you take every excuse you can.
You should.
So, yeah.
Carpe vampire grill.
Yeah, sure. Carpe Fang. Yeah, terrible. So no, and then actually got out and about in Deep Ellum for a little bit this weekend in Dallas. Went and had some nice afternoon beers at Three Links and saw Jarrett Ray Reddick of Bowling for Soup do his country set, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and had some good eats, and yeah, that's about it. Pretty not pretty laid back weekend.
That's a lot of things. Just listening to that, I'm like,
That was
oh
a
my
lot of
God,
things.
I'm fucking exhausted.
I was about
And
to say,
I
like,
also know
and
there are things you
also-
didn't list.
Yeah, they did. I did. I was like, oh yeah, no, wait, it wasn't laid back. And then I also went and cheered for my niece at her cheerleading competition, and they got second place. Yay! Go
Did the
Addison.
Voodoo Queens win?
No.
Oh, I really hope they would have won. And there was
a team called the Voodoo Queens.
Yeah, and there was like outside, they were just like actually like doing voodoo to like win, and like they were just like chicken feet that were like people kept finding them like underneath like girls' ponytails and shit.
No, unfortunately,
little like green bags everywhere, and it's like, oh, look, just the little cheerleaders just tripping on everything and just like falling down.
No, unfortunately for your vision, that is not
for
what
my
happened,
version of
but-
Bring It On, New Orleans.
New Orleans edition. There we go.
Netflix, make it happen.
And then I was super excited. Like all I had been counting down to was watching the stupid Love is Blind live reunion, because Netflix made a big deal about how they were doing this live reunion. And yes, I like Love is Blind because I'm a dork. And I like garbage television sometimes. It's okay. And then I play my whole Sunday evening around this, got all my shit done, showered, chilling, ate all the good, got my glass of wine in my stupid metal goblet like they use on the fucking show. And it was delayed by 5 minutes. No one knew what was going on. They came out and said it'd be 15 minutes. Okay, fine. We're running 20 minutes late. It happens.
So what are they doing like while this is like on? What's being shown?
Nothing. You could not, like Netflix was crashing. Like people could not get in. You would get the error screen.
So Netflix itself was crashing.
That's what I mean, like if you went to the show, what would pop up on your screen would be the thing that says, sorry, we're not able to play this right now. Try again later or whatever. That was all that would pop up. And then.
So it wasn't like an empty studio with like just like a chair open and nobody sitting in there. Okay.
No, because then like some of the people that cast were on their like Instagram live, like, sorry, we're late, guys. We're trying to figure it out. Ha ha, we broke the internet. Ha ha, like that kind of shit. So, and so I read online, and so I'm like following like an Instagram live like feed while this like from the show, and at one point there was 190,000 people on the same Instagram live feed that I was watching, and it's like just trying to figure out what the fuck was happening. It was kind of weird, honestly. Like looking back, I'm like, this is kind of crazy. And like all these brands were popping in, like Gold Star to Cheesecake Factory and MTV's social media teams. Y'all were on fucking point on there. But then there was a few others in there too. It was pretty funny, honestly, like all you could do is laugh. But then an hour and a half later, hour and a half after it was supposed to start, Netflix is like, sorry guys, can't do it. We'll just record it and drop it. So Netflix has proven that they are not capable of doing a live stream, apparently.
Oh,
there we go.
Somebody got fired.
And then I watched it and it was fucking boring. Sorry if you liked it. I thought it was a total letdown of a reunion episode. I like was so stoked to watch it on my Monday night. And I like half paid attention because I was so bored. That's how I feel about it. So Love is Blind reunion let me down.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thanks. It was several hours of my life.
That was a thing, but you were part of a weird movement about something very shitty, which is just a sign of like our times right now, that people just need something that shitty, and they're like, this is all I had. This is all I had this weekend. It was this stupid Love is Blind reunion, and you fucked it up, Netflix. You
fucked it up. So anyway, so that's my other update. So with that, I'll move on. So yeah, there we go.
Okay, so let's jump into this week's episode after yes, which was unlike Diana's unfortunate Love is Blind fiasco, was actually an enjoyable episode, as this is finally where we get a break from Bummerland, and we should know about Like a Virgin, and I'm not going to explain to you what the fuck that means if you need to know what that means. Sorry. All right. Episode number 12 in season 6. It first aired February 2nd, 2011. Was directed by Phil Sgriccia and written by Mr. Adam Glass. And so there are actually some things that will come back to him, but we've talked about it before. And so like kind of no big deal on like the production notes on this. There's some things we'll talk about as we go through. But I think we could just start into Nope Land, which is like things like Liz is terrified of. Being in a tiny plane in a storm. Nope.
I am going to touch on the recap from this episode real fast before we get to the tiny plane. First off, I thought it was interesting because, you know, we left off with Death shoving Sam's soul back into him at the end of the last episode. In this episode, we've got the beginning, the recap. We've got a lot of Sam action. And then we've also got Back in the Saddle by Aerosmith playing. I thought that was interesting. So a little bit of
nice little lead up.
You know, yeah. So we were in a tiny plane in a giant thunderstorm. And she,
yeah, this dude's like, you know, I didn't think we would run into any weather. What?
Yeah.
What, motherfucker? That storm? That's not like I popped up storm.
Pop storm. No, it's a big storm. And so the girl is just, the young woman is like freaking out. She just wants to land, but then she sees something fly by. What?
Nope.
What? And he's like, no, it's fine. Just like relax, lay back, and close your eyes. It'll be okay. We'll land soon.
Yeah, I think it's as soon as like some dude tells you to relax and close your eyes and think of England, and then he disappears, just shows why you should never close your eyes and relax. There is a time to be tense.
Well, did you say you should never close your eyes and relax?
Well, in crisis situations, okay. I'm just like, that's a pretty much a lay back and let it, okay, I'm not even going to say that, but it's just like, you know, it's, I don't know, like I don't want to relax in that moment and wait for it to happen. I want to be tense.
Well, it doesn't, I mean, she gets that wish, I guess, because she hears a glass break and he's gone, and then the freaking plane crashes while she's screaming.
Yep.
So
alone on the plane. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's upsetting. So we are back at Bobby's bunker. Castiel is checking on Sam, but as he notes, he is not a human doctor.
Well, and he's walking out and he's rolling up his sleeves like he just like fisted a cow. Like it just looks like, you know, a vet coming out, like, and just after like rolling down, like, well, ain't nothing. She ain't gonna birth that one. Like it's not breech or. Like,
well, what didn't he have to like?
Yeah, well, he was
diaphragm.
He was fisting him to like figure out if he had a soul. I guess
stomach fist. I don't know. Soul fisting. I don't know.
That's soul fisting.
Not to be mistaken for Soul Cycle. Yeah. So, but
Soul Cycle after dark.
So Dean's like trying to ask Castiel a question. So like, so yes, his soul's there, but Dean's like, well, is he going to wake up? And Castiel's like, kind of like gives Dean some shit. Like,
yeah,
like,
it's a difficult time in the relationship. Cass seems stressed.
Yeah. And he is not stoked about this. And he goes off again about how Dean should not have put this soul back into Sam.
And he does say that, you know, when he touched it, it felt like, you know, when he touched it, it felt like it had been skinned alive. But I'm like, how was a blob? I still don't understand this. Because it's like every time they show a soul, it's like this like glowy blob.
Ball and glow of light.
How do you
glow of light is what I said. Glowing ball of light is what I meant to say.
Ball and glow of light. I think it's going to turn on things like with my Amazon Alexa. So like, but anyways, yeah, it's a weird thing, right? But he's just like, it's gross. Like you shouldn't have like put that inside of him. It's icky. He's unclean.
But the worst thing he says is after that, though. He says, if you wanted to kill your brother, you should have done it outright.
Meh. Damn. Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. I just, because I feel like and also I think it probably comes from watching the show so many times, but the whole like, shouldn't put the soul in Sam, like that argument after a while, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You shouldn't have put the soul in Sam. Or like, it's gross. Or just like, yeah, he's got a gross soul. We know it. And I'm also just kind of sad because that means soulless Sam is gone.
Oh,
but
soulless Sam turned mean. So we got
I know
so Dean and Bobby
went
go
all
have a
like
drink.
Menendez, but you know, so we get to, but yeah, Bobby and Dean are drinking, and Bobby says a very, very awesome line, and he says, like my daddy always said, just because it kills your liver, don't mean it ain't medicine. And that should be like I think probably like on a plaque, like above a fireplace in a really shitty bar.
Or at a bar. Yeah, at a bar. I was going to say, at the bar.
Not at my house, no. Or on a tombstone, maybe.
Oh yeah. Both? I don't know. But Bobby has a news clipping in front of him, and Dean catches his eye, and he's like, "Hey, is this a job?" And so Bobby tells him about a pilot that was found flambéed, and the plane itself was found 17 miles away, and his female passenger was missing.
Yeah, and Dean basically does you had my curiosity, now you have my intention face.
Mm-hmm.
But someone's awake.
What? Sam? Oh no, he's up. And he hugs Dean and he hugs Bobby. And
it's so awkward. Like the Bobby hug is real awkward.
Yeah.
The Dean hug looks real sincere.
It does. But yeah, so he's just like, but basically Sam relays that the last thing he remembers was, well, he remembers Lucifer snapping Bobby's neck and is shocked that Castiel's alive. So that's what he remembers is that, but he's hungry. So they're going to go feed him.
He hungry.
Yeah. So he doesn't remember anything for the past year and a half.
That sounds nice. Can I do that back to like 2012? I don't know, just some year before. Can I just do just any of it? I'll take any of it. Like 6 months, a year, 2 years.
Over a decade.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
think of how much like less anxiety I would have.
Well, he doesn't remember anything, and Dean like just insists that like nope, everything's all good. There's no weird deals about bringing you back. That's it.
And I like that Bobby pretty much expresses what we are all thinking, and he just rolls his fucking eyes. He's just like, "Have you not learned?
No,
you never learn, do you?
Never learned.
You never learn. Okay, fine. You just lie to him again because that's going to end well. Cool."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Bobby's out working on a car, and so Dean's out talking to him, and Bobby's like,
"Look, more beer because that's what you need when you're underneath the car. You need more beer."
Yeah. Looks like a really good lift. He's fine. And Bobby's just glad. He's like, I'm glad Sam's better, but I'm not real sure that everything's erased. I mean, you gotta keep in mind that Sam just tried to kill his ass. So, but they don't want to like crack the wall. Like Dean's like, I don't want to crack the wall. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. This is the best possible way. But this is like you said, Bobby's like, this is still dumb. He's going to find out. We must tell him, and he'd rather hear it from us.
I don't understand why you couldn't say, like, to me, like, I wouldn't tell the whole truth. I wouldn't be like, you tried to kill Bobby, but because especially like if you've got a wall in there you don't want them to scratch, I would want him to know, and I'd be like, hey, here's the
you'll reduce the confusion
and
because he won't want to scratch the wall.
Look, man, like you didn't have soul. We got a soul back in. You don't want to know what you did. Like we can talk about it, but you don't want to know. And like, look, like it's really shitty. Don't go after the hell piece. You know, like, and then he's not like, to me, that solves so much problems right there.
Yeah.
That took me, 30 seconds to say?
And you could even like go a little more in depth if you needed to, just to really keep him out of it. But like, look, I would tell you more, but I know you're going to dig deeper. And here's the high points. Here's the big stuff, you know, and then like leave it at that.
Yeah. But no, like now you made it all like a bigger deal.
Like Samuel Campbell's real fucking creepy. Stay away from him if you see him.
Like you need to warn him about Samuel.
There's things. There's things.
You went to monster prison.
Yeah. I mean, he probably wants to hear about monster prison.
You fucked a hippie.
Oh, yeah, he did. So, anyways, he's just... Bobby points out that when Sam finds out that they've been, you know, withholding stuff, it ain't gonna be cute.
It ain't gonna be cute. It ain't gonna be like this. It's just not. Nobody likes being gaslit. They just don't.
Mm-mm. So Bobby and Dean are going to go out on this job, but Sam wakes up and insists he wants to go along.
I want to go on the hunt, guys. I'm all back. I'm all happy and fine. Let me go on the hunt. Yeah.
Yes. So Bobby decides to stay back and let the boys go.
Yeah, because he don't want to be in a car with Sam because it's awkward. And like, and Sam can smell like the Bobby's trying to stay away from me because you can always tell. And like sometimes, like if you have ADHD, like you get oversensitive to that, and you think your friends are like just don't like you, and you know that's not true. But for Sam case, like this is, you know, you're right, Sam. He's avoiding you.
Yes, and Sam's kind of confused by it and asks Dean, and Dean makes up the excuse of 1 part age and 3 parts liquor.
Fair, though. I mean, fair.
Okay. So they're driving into Portland where this is all going down, and Sam's on the phone with the police, and we've got a new day yesterday by Jethro Tull on the radio. And apparently there's been 2 other young females that have been disappeared in town too.
Yeah, and he has just slipped right back into Detective Sam. He's just like, I've got my monocle or my magnifying glass, whatever detectives have, and
fluffy hat thing.
He's got his little hat on, the deer hunter hat. Is that what we learned? I don't remember what it's called.
Something like that.
Anyway, but yeah, we got young and female, which hey, Dean didn't make a gross joke.
Ooh,
Yay!
Go Dean. But Sam starts to kind of ask questions of Dean at this point, though, about like, so what, you didn't even try to go like live your life while I was gone for a year and a half. I mean, you kind of promised that you would, and Dean plays it off at first, but like eventually does spill that he was with Lisa and Ben for a year, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, so at least like he says like something of what he did. Something, but then also it's just like, hey, listen to this song only a lot louder than I had it on. La 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 la. I really like this chorus, which is a great technique when you want people to shut the fuck up in the car. Just turn that music up.
Yeah. So we cut to a young woman's house, and this is Penny, our victim from the plane crash. It's her sister, and we got Sam and Dean in suits doing their undercover shit. and
Penny looks like she has Portland written all over her. I mean, she doesn't look like she smells like some of the Portland people.
The sister.
Yeah, but Penny's the sister does. But the sister looks like super Portland.
Yeah. Penny's room is very pink for a adult woman. And I'm not judging having a pink room.
It's very pink for anybody.
This is very little.
That was very pink for
Dolly Parton.
Ruffles
and lace and baby pink.
That was very pink for Barbie. That was just that was very pink for Sweet Valley High Beth.
It was very innocent for an adult female.
Yeah.
And the sister explains that Penny was not an adventurous person. She really only went on that plane for Stan because she really liked Stan, who was her pilot.
Fuck you, Stan. Penny, yeah, you were right. You should have gone on that thing. You had thoughts. But we go from the pink room to a wonderful, wonderful Portland motel room that makes me feel warm and cozy inside. And it's like the type of room that goes, oh, Pacific Northwest, you seem so nice. Not like you seem like really depressing and like I don't want to be here, but it looks so nice when you see it this way. Like I want to go to Forks. I want to go look for vampires, like
I want to go to Forks.
We can go to Forks. Okay. So anyways, this I love this motel room. It's just cozy.
Well, Sam is doing research and Dean walks in with like burgers and food from a restaurant called Big Az. They're
big ass burgers. Big ass burgers.
Yeah. Deeply amused.
I would totally go. I would go eat a big ass.
Fuck
I would love some big ass.
Yes, I'm sure they're delicious. But Sam's figured out that the other 2 victims that they'd previously heard about, but not Penny, were very involved in their church. So what's the connection without Penny? Well, Dean has an answer for that because he jacked her diary from her room. And apparently it's not about religion. It was about purity. So virgins are disappearing.
Virgins.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be stealing something from like Buffy the Vampire Slayer where they just like go, the patriarchy! Because I'm just like, who wants virgins? But thankfully not Dean.
He's like, I prefer ladies with experience.
You and me both, Mr. Winchester. Woohoo! High five.
Yeah. Well, so we get a scene with 3 young ladies, teenagers, probably. I don't know. I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, they're at St. Mary's, and which I guess is supposed to be like. Did you think it was a university or a school?
I thought it was a high school.
Okay, so like a high school, so a Catholic school, but. And those skirts were short.
Yeah, they always are on TV though, right?
Yeah, I was just like, you girls
like
don't look
FYI,
like good girls.
if you're going to Catholic
Whoa.
school, and you have to wear a uniform, I assure you that skirt length has to be like to your knees.
I feel like a nun was about to hit those girls with rulers on their legs.
Probably.
And look, I'm fairly fine with like you wearing you can wear your skirt as short as you want to wear it. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
But I'm just saying, for a Catholic school, high school,
that's not happening.
Those were very short skirts. Or if this is a really cool punk rock high school, like they all have like their band.
Yeah. So we've got 3 girls leaving the school at night, which is all kind of just odd. But one of them splits off from the other 2. But as she's walking,
that's why I was like, is this a college? But I guess the Catholic schools have like boarding schools, maybe.
Well, I mean, she could have just been walking home while she had like a late study sesh.
I don't know. I guess, but it was like a campus at night, so they must live there. I don't know. Whatever. Okay.
I don't know. Well, she hears a noise that sounds like a flapping above her, and then it's chasing her. And then she screams as she's looking up, and our next scene, we're at a hospital.
Yep.
Ooh.
And in the dateline, her friends are feeling very bad for leaving her alone. I've seen the interview with them, probably. Yeah,
for sure.
They're like, "Oh no, I can't believe we split up. We said it was just a half a block."
Yeah. So Melissa is explaining to Sam and Dean that it looked like a giant bat that came at her.
I like giant bat. That sounds awesome.
And but she's so sure that they're not going to believe her. So she shows them the giant scratches on her back, though, which, by the way, that did not look like the best like stitching I've ever seen.
No,
it was
the port. This was I don't know what port. She's
like,
at
what did they do to this
clinic.
poor young lady's back?
She's at the clinic in Portland. She's not actually at the hospital. She's just at like that side clinic, you know, like, because, like where you just pay with cash when you go in, and they just like, we're not going to talk about what the bat did to you, lady.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very. I was like, "Damn, they fucked this chick's back up."
Next
and
time
not the
on
scratches,
Botched.
the stitches.
Next time on
right, exactly. So, but she's like, "Look, she got attacked. I got attacked. I passed out, and it left. But he stole my gold promise ring." Oh. So Dean asks, insisting in a way that he's not being judgy.
But he sounded like he was being judgy.
Should be wearing that promise ring.
Really? Really? Should you? Melissa, should you be wearing that ring?
Was it Matt Barn didn't count?
Matt Barn didn't count. And I love this for you, Melissa. I really do.
It was so funny. I'm sorry.
It was just funny. The comedy was in it. The line was it's a wonderful line. So outside, they're throwing around a Batman theory, which I do appreciate, I guess.
It's so weird, though.
It's such an absurd thing. But then,
and the way they approach it is...
Yeah, Detective Sam, I don't know what you're doing right now. But then Dean's... one of them asks, like, what likes virgins and gold?
And, yeah. It said P. Diddy?
P. Diddy. And I'm like... I think I could go with a different answer, and he's in jail right now. So, but this was earlier in the 2000s, so people weren't quite admitting what was happening there. They should have. All right, so we go back to my wonderful motel that's getting made better because now Dean's making a murder board. What makes your motel room more cozy than a murder board?
Is that what it is? Liz's motel stylings. Here's how to just really freshen and warm the space up. We need a really nice murder board over here. So you can have either your lattice work or your Midwest mural on this wall. But over here, we really need to have some good red yarn with some good thumb pins.
And once again, somewhere in Baby is a spool of red yarn to make the murder board. And thumbtacks. Like, do you think at some point Dean's just like, Sam, we're out of thumbtacks?
They have fucking crafting supplies.
Yeah. Can we get the push pins this time? Like, I want the round ones. I don't want the square ones. I want the round push pins.
So Sam's like a little flummoxed because he keeps putting in these search parameters for what they're looking for, what kind of creature this could be. And he keeps ending up on World of Warcraft fan sites. What does this point to? Dragons.
Yeah. So
And-
they call for backup.
Yeah.
Or phone a friend.
Yeah. It's Bobby, who is making one of the most depressing dinners I've ever seen.
That's exactly how I described it. A depressing can of food.
It looks so bad. Like, I will throw together, like, I actually enjoy, like, what I jokingly call a struggle meal. I am not struggling. It is not to, like, imply otherwise. But, like, I'm going to throw together, like, this can of whatever and throw it in a fucking tortilla and throw whatever leftovers I have, whatever. Like, just throw
I'm
shit
gonna
together.
make a goulash, or whatever. Yeah,
I love it. This looks fucking gross and sad.
This looks like the Dinty Moore can of beef stew that expired 20 years ago. Bobby, do better.
It's not good.
Yeah, lay off the whiskey. And also, like, this reminds me of, like, when I would go to my dad's ranch cabin, like, when he was just, like, uber bacheloring an old man, like, you would just find, like, the cabinet full of, like, chili. And you're like,
that would be better. A can of Hormel would be less offensive than this.
It does look like dog food. Anyways, so... Mm-hmm. Bobby's kind of like not into this question, but into it.
But he has, like, I love his line. He said, "This is not like the Loch Ness Monster. Dragons aren't real." I love that. Oh, it made me happy.
No, and he also brings when he wants to get more information, he asks if he should call Hogwarts.
He does. We get our Hogwarts reference. But then Bobby tries to ask Dean about if he's revealed anything else to Sam.
Look over there.
Yeah, but Dean's in the room with Sam, so this is real awkward. He tries to play it off.
And Bobby should know that. You should know. Like, you're sharing a room. Like, I don't know. But Dean also should have just put him on speaker and solve that problem. But anyhow. All right. So we cut to Sam just reading through John's journal.
Yeah. And Dean's playing off. He's like, look, I remember if Dad had written about, this never-ending story, which is annoying reference because
that's a luck dragon.
It's a luck dragon, not a traditional dragon with these type of wings. And there aren't any traditional, like, medieval type dragons in the never-ending story. So fail reference on that.
We don't know if it's a medieval dragon yet or not, to be fair.
Well, we don't, but we've heard about bat wings.
So yeah, so we've heard, so far our clues are bat wings and virgins.
Yeah. And I don't think Falcor cares about that.
I don't think Falcor cares about virgins at all.
Mm-hmm. So
Sam,
no judgment, Falcor, but
whatever, man.
But Sam's sitting there pondering and starts asking questions though, and he asks if they'd caught a skinwalker lately. And Dan's caught pretty off guard by this, but plays it off like, "Oh, don't ring a bell," because Sam's having some weird deja vu shit. But Dean just totally gaslights him about all this. Like, no, we haven't. No skinwalkers. Your eggs are still scrambled. Like, just like shit talk.
All in your mind. It's all in your mind.
Cool.
It's just not cool, man. It's not. It's rude.
Yeah. But then Bobby calls, and he's got a reference to talk about dragons.
He does. He's a source.
Dr. Viziak at SFU.
Yeah, it also sounds like Shut the Fuck Up University, so that's just kind of made me happy. But apparently it's supposed to stand for San Francisco University.
Yes, which Dean's going to go and leave Sam to research alone. Which also seems like just like a weird setup right now. Everything's kind of iffy. This dude's been like, doesn't remember the last year and a half of his life.
You're just going to leave him by himself in Portland?
So I was like,
that's cool.
Does not seem okay, but all right.
Yeah, whatever your caretaker status tells you, like, okay.
Sure. We get a scene now, though, where we don't really know where this is happening. It's something underground, like a cellar or a prison or an industrial site, but it's dark and concrete and metal, and there's girls in cages.
And they're crying.
Yeah, they're not happy about it.
There's so many girls crying.
And a dude flies in with wings, throws a new girl in with broken hand, then uses his glowing red hand to weld the cage back shut.
I mean, that is the handiest shit. Like, I wish I had that. Also, the friend of the pod, Cat Anya, just made an appearance on our camera. But now she's going to go to sleep. Good night, Anya. But yeah, I mean, so I feel like I want this superpower. This seemed like, okay, so when I had to like break into the gate this weekend, like if I could have just like melted away things, like it would have been so much faster. And then you just remelt it back. Like, oh man, it'd be so handy.
I mean, it would be quite useful.
It's quite a skill. Quite a skill.
So we get Dean's pulled up to this property. It's a house. Big nice house,
a fucking amazing house, like just pure like vintage San Francisco, like the type of San Francisco you actually like not the part of San Francisco where you're getting like stabbed and shit, like just like the really gorgeous like old houses where you know they were practicing all sorts of occult shit. You know, occult shit happened in that house. It's so
I'm sure.
Yeah, and we get to meet my woman crush. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I was like, this is up your alley. This is Dr. Eleanor Viziak. And Dean has to name drop Bobby to even get her to come to the door. But she also tells Dean to kick Bobby in the jewels next time he sees him.
And she tells him to do this while she's drinking out of this very fancy crystal glass in a gorgeous library. Her hair is in this beautiful, like upswept, French just like classic French twist. And it was just there. And like she has on like this beautiful, like silk, like blue, like wrap blouse and a pencil skirt and heels in her fucking house. Like she just hangs out in her house like this. I don't hang out in my house like that. Like, I want to. I ain't gonna. Like, I'm gonna hang out in my house in my spandex yoga shorts, but damn. This woman's amazing. Yeah. Like, she's so good. And she's just gorgeous. And, like, but gorgeous in, like, that just woman aging, like, gracefully kind of way.
Oh, yeah. Classy.
Did you ever know that you... Okay, go on. Sorry.
Well, but Dean wants to know what the story is, though, that apparently she's got something against Bobby, but she won't tell. She said that's Bobby's story to tell. So Dean goes straight for it, wants to talk dragons. And she's like, yeah, they disappeared. This isn't funny. It's been like 700 years since we've seen one. And Dean's like, yeah, but how do you kill them? So she's like, yeah, you need a blade forged with dragon's blood. So you need the blood of something to kill the thing.
Right. However... Hey, you know, there were dragons before, and there aren't that many, but there are dragon swords. Yeah.
Dragon swords. And guess what? Out of the handful in the world, Dr. Viziak has one in her basement.
Basement.
It took her, I love how she says what it took to get it. 2 decades, countless hours, and really bad sex with an Eastern European ambassador. I was like, oh man,
why aren't you my mentor, Dr. Viziak? Please come find me and be my mentor. Also, I just think it's amazing to have like, I really admire people who can have like an obsession and just like the idea to like go after one topic and just like only focus on like, she's made like this idea of like dragons and shit. Like this is her life goal. Right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Like that's all she's been doing. And she also has fucking stained glass in her house with like, oh my god, I just started bawling and I'm just like, oh my god, it's so pretty.
Yeah. She's also got a fucking giant boulder with a sword in it.
And the boulder is the sword of Brunkvik, the love of her life. And it's a real thing. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. In this, I don't know how to introduce it into this lore.
Lore.
All right. So here, there be dragons, and there be dragons, and everywhere there be dragons. There are dragons, like, to basically, since man could, like, make up shit, like, or, you know, talk about shit, there have been dragons. And it doesn't really matter, like, what part of the world you're from. There are dragons in Western culture. There are dragons in Eastern cultures. There are dragons among the Americas. Like, pretty much everywhere you go, in a point in time, there have been something about dragons. Although there are some spaces and some places that call some things dragons that I just think are ancient snakes. Like, there's just some things that make you a dragon, and sometimes you're just a fucking snake. Like, if you're just like scaly and like a cylinder, you're not a dragon. That's a snake. Like, I think people need to get that definition right. And like, even the definition and like really like in the dictionaries and stuff are still like kind of vague. There's like, can you be a lizard? You mean scaling things? I don't know. But I just feel like dragons, like, I don't know, what do you think? Do like dragons, like, do they need feet? Or is it wings? Like,
I mean, I anything when someone says dragon to me, I mean, my thought is more, I guess, of what a traditional medieval dragon or a Japanese dragon, both of which have scales, feet, and wings.
Okay. But even if you took that into something like, I would say like, Mesoamerican dragons, that would, same kind of idea too, right? Like there's feet on them, there's usually wings, like, and there's generally like fires, and there's other things, right? But you just like a round tube, that's a snake.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Anyways, so in order for us to learn about some of these dragons from around the world that have gone, because there's just so many, and someone should do a whole podcast on dragons, and I'm pretty sure
there probably is.
There's probably like 17,000 podcasts on dragons. Go find one. I mean, there's just like the nerds like behind like Game of Thrones enough. Just like, oh, this dragon is from, you know what happened. So we're going to talk about dragons in a fun way where we're going to play a game. Okay, or more accurately, Diana's going to play a game, and I'm going to tell her a limerick, and it's going to be about some kind of dragon, and she has to guess the missing word. I know this sounds confusing, but nah, you're fine. You'll get it. Okay? We'll figure it out. All right. So our first limerick, and it's about Brunkvik, because that's the first one, right? All right. Also, I did not write the limericks. ChatGPT totally did. I did the research, but then I fed it into a machine because I don't have time to be this creative. Thank you, robot overlords. All right. So our first one. Brunkvik, a Czech prince so bold, got caught in a storm, so we're told. He ended up on a mount where he found himself to count, help a lion defeat a dragon so cold. After 7 long years of wandering, Brunkvik returned home pondering. He hid his sword in Charles Bridge for the blank land's future privilege, where it waits for the knights responding. So you have to answer for the blank land's future privilege. What land did Brunkvik leave the sword for?
Brunkvik. I'm just gonna guess. I'm going for it, like a German.
Well, technically, it was Czechoslovakian, and the answer was in the first line of the limerick. So, Brunkvik, a Czech prince so bold.
Damn it! It was. I did hear it. And right. I was just all right.
But I think that's
Fail
cool.
one.
Yeah. So, but Brunkvik, the sword that's here, there actually is like a whole story. You can go look it up about like this guy, and like he like ended up like going in all these fights. So he ended up like helping a lion like kill a dragon, and then the lion and the dude become friends, and they go wander around in Hakuna Matata shit. And then like he comes back. I don't know. The sword's in like Charles Bridge in Czechoslovakia, and it's supposed to like rise up like when the country needs it. So hopefully that's exciting.
It's
and
like
terrifying.
The sword of Gryffindor.
Yeah. But also terrifying. Like, can you imagine like being there and the sword coming? I'm like, no, go back down. No. We didn't know.
Oh no, shit's fucked. Shit's fucked.
We got the fucking sword coming out of the water.
That's how you know. We thought everything was fine. There's the sword.
Here's the sword. All right. Our second one. All right. In Korea, a tale that's oft told of love that's pure, strong, and bold. Yi Mong-yong and Chun-yang unite, though her birthmark's a serpent in sight. For she's an Emugi, it's told, a blank king's daughter, some unfold. Their love, a transformation to behold. Okay, so I think ChatGPT kind of fucked up its rhyme skills there, but all right, so we'll go through it again. All right, so Korea, a tale that's oft told a love that's pure, strong, and bold. Then there's two people, and I probably butchered their names in Korean. I'm sorry. But Yi Won-young and Chun-yang, they unite. And then through her birthmark, though her birthmark's a serpent in sight, for she's an Amugi, it's told, a blank king's daughter. So she's a king's daughter, but what kind of king's daughter? She's got a birthmark that's got a serpent looking thing on it.
I was going to say, like,
don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
My head want to go to Snake King, but I don't think that's it. I think it's like a Dragon King.
It's a dragon. It's a dragon. The answer's dragon. Okay. Don't overthink it.
Yeah,
she's a fucking Dragon King's daughter. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is a number of variations of this, but basically, there is a dude and he falls in love with a woman and she's got this birthmark and it looks like a snake or a serpent or a dragon, but then it comes to find out that she actually is one, and then like they have dragon sex and it's all hot. I don't know. I read weird. Hey, it was really hot in that one Shifter Paranormal Romance book.
It really was. Molly
in the Molly Harper's book, that dragon sex was hot. And I was like, I never thought dragon sex was hot until I read that book. But
I was like, oh, this is gonna be weird, and I was like, okay, I'm into it.
I'm into it, yeah. But anyways, I'm not a Korean dragon expert. Go look at more if you want to. But it was just I thought it was a very interesting tale.
That is.
Our third one. Right. And there is, I'm warning you, I am totally making out the pronunciation of this word that comes from Babylonian. So, there once was a beast called Mushushu. On Babylon's gate, it came into view. I'm pretty sure it's Mushu. A dragon with scales and eagle talons. A long neck, tall, and a tongue like a python. Oh boy,
that's upsetting.
All right, so and then it goes, the blank depiction of dragons is true. Okay, let me try and repeat this without being an asshole. All right, there once was a beast called Mushasu. On Babylon's gate, it came into view. A dragon with scales and eagle talons, a long neck, tail, and a tongue like a python. It was a blank depiction of dragons. It's true. So we're looking for what type of depiction of dragons, or what type of dragon. Yeah. Thanks.
No, I don't know.
It's the earliest. I know that one was hard. I don't know.
That one was hard. Yeah.
So, but basically, this is supposedly
Babylonian. That checks. Yeah.
Yeah. So supposedly, like the earliest one is this type of one. So I think it's cool. But so he's got scales. He's got eagle talons. He's got a long nail. He's got a tongue like a python, and he's on like.
That's weird. Like a python tongue.
I guess like a snake tongue,
that's
though.
Distressing. Oh, I was thinking like his tongue was like a python.
No, I don't think it means like the tongue like constricts you. I think
that
it
makes
just
so much more sense. What was I thinking?
Or it's a very like a prehensile tongue. Like the
that's where my brain was. I was like, oh, this is upsetting.
It's very upsetting.
Just has a snake.
I'm just like, no, it's just this picture snake on the gate of Babylon. It's a real cute dragon. He's not upsetting.
That makes a lot more sense.
Okay, we're gonna go one that's less upsetting because Diana, you do love a lake monster, and I hate people who call them sea captains on lakes. So we've got a ditty about a Lake Superior creature. All right.
Ooh.
There's a creature named Mishu Peshu. In Lake Superior, it roams and pursues a water panther or lynx with scales and feathers that intermix. It drowns those who dare to accrue its territory, its power it imbues, with a head like a cat and legs with blank to pat. This Ojibwe legend is quite a debut. So he's got legs with what? He's got a head like a cat, and then he's got these legs. And on these legs, what are there?
Fins?
That would be cool, but they're talons. They're talons.
Oh, okay.
They're talons.
Talons makes way more sense because we're talking about dragons, and there was the
But fens would be cool too. They'd be cool.
Well, I was so focused on the lake.
Yeah. So
very lake focused.
Again, if I'm mispronouncing this, sorry, not a expert on dragons of the Native Americans culture. So, but the Mishu Peshu is an Ojibwe water culture who dwells in Lake Superior, traveling around in underwater tunnels and drowning those who trespass on its territory. I kind of like that for you. Also, I love that its name is often called the underwater panther.
Yeah, me too. I got excited about that.
Yeah, so it technically, like, also it's called the underwater lynx, and that's more of the translation. But frankly, underwater panther, awesome. So,
yeah.
Our last one. All right, and I was very excited to learn about this dragon, and we're still in Americas. All right.
Oh.
So in Maryland, a snallygaster's game, a strange creature, quite wild and untamed, with razor-like claws and octopus-like jaws. It flew over the national highway unclaimed. Its horn was both long and quite sharp, one eye in the center, no mark. With blank so immense, it just makes sense that this monster would cause such a harp. So what did it have very large things of that made it cause a harp, which I guess is a fuss. Well, that's a harp.
Wings?
Yeah, it was wings. Dana figured out the game. Woo! All right, so I was just really happy to learn about something called a snallygaster. And, and so basically it's like a bird, reptile, chimera that is in like the eastern portion of the United States. Theoretically may come from superstitions from German immigrants, could have been used for racism. So like there's a weird history in there. And then like you can read the newspaper accounts in like 1909 where people were talking about seeing this thing flying around back and forth. And then it got used for politics and stuff. But apparently it had enormous wings, a long pointed bill, claws like steel hooks, and an eye in the center of its forehead. And its screeches sounded like a locomotive whistle.
Whoa.
I don't want to see that.
No. Pass.
Unless, like, I mean, it kind of also sort of sounds like a pterodactyl.
It does.
So it kind of goes into that cryptid idea, like, are there, were there pterodactyls that were, like, in the Americas? Whatever. But it's not, I mean, come on. Snallygaster.
That's cool. Snallygaster.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm saying it, and I'm going with it.
Yeah. Right. Obviously.
So those were our Dragon Ditties.
Dragon Ditties. Dragon Ditties today.
Diana did quite well.
Let's not stretch it. I did okay.
It was a hard quiz. I really couldn't figure out how to make that a quiz. Like, I could have just read the limerick, so it's not as fun, right? Like,
no, that's all right.
All right, so we come back to my woman crush, ever so sexy Dr. Lady, and telling Dean that binding with the swords with rocks was quite the thing to do.
Yeah, so Dean's got to pull it out. And we get some really like super cute music and lighting as Dean mounts the rock to try to pull the sword from it, but it don't budge, and he falls, and he's straighting, and it is a straight fail.
Yep, it is very good, and apparently that sword was really bolted down, so there was like no way that Jensen could actually pull it.
That's funny.
And a lot of like this was like his comedic ideas, but it's just an adorable scene, just like him like crawling up on it, just like, oh, it's so good.
So back in the motel, Sam's working on the murder wall, but takes a break to call Bobby. And while he's doing that, he's also been taking another kind of break, because if you look on the table, there is a pink box from Voodoo Donuts.
There is. And we just had Voodoo Donuts last week.
We just did. Yes.
I had a blunt donut. It was delicious.
So we've got Sam is trying to get Bobby's feedback on isolating where the lair would be if somewhere cold, dark, and wet. And Bobby helps him. Because he's been looking for caves, but so they decided to look for sewers. And Sam tries to ask Bobby like, hey, let's talk. Are you being weird? And Bobby's like, look, you can tell like he's asking Bobby to tell him what happened this past year.
He's
but
fishing.
Bobby just
He
plays it all
knows.
off.
And this is why you don't gaslight somebody. Because Sam obviously knows, like, they're not telling him the whole truth.
Yeah. And so he's kind of upset. He gets off the phone and does a little prayer / call out to Castiel, who surprisingly shows up.
He does, just flaps right in. And this is a part where I notice the voodoo donuts. Damn it.
Okay.
Donut.
So we've got donuts. And Sam lies to Castiel and is like, man, yeah, I talked to Bobby. What a crazy year. Oh, Bobby told me everything.
Yeah, sometimes
But,
like you got those stupid friends who shouldn't have secrets. Cass is one of those. You don't tell Cass your secrets because this shit'll happen.
Because then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm totally surprised that you survived. I begged Dean not to do it. It's a miracle it didn't kill you. How do you feel having your soul back? Oh. Sam does a pretty good job playing this off for this being all new info.
Yeah.
But definitely is kind of upset and wants to ask Castiel for more details.
Yeah, we just walk around no soul. And how about I bring it down for you? Thanks, Cass. Then we go to something that's very upsetting.
I didn't think you'd like this part.
Nope. The woman who has a like Dr. Visiek, or whatever the fuck her name is, I never remember it. Whatever, I just call her Hot Doctor. She. Like there's
Eleanor.
just we appreciate and this is her love of her life. This is the thing she fucked a terrible ugly dude for this. She fucked an ugly dude for this.
She didn't say he was ugly. She said it was bad sex. But anyways,
he was probably ugly. I don't know.
But she understands the importance of being part of killing a dragon in modern times in 700 years. Fuck yeah, she wouldn't be into it otherwise. She said it's the most valuable artifact you've ever touched. As Dean walks into the room with a bag full of explosives.
There has to be another way.
Puttying that motherfucker up.
No, sir. You take your C4 and you kindly march back out that door. Just in general, I would not allow not even near that artifact, much less that room.
Well, I wouldn't want that in my house. This seems like a very structurally questionable choice.
Yeah, could you get a forklift? And then, take the rock out of the house.
They got the rock in.
They got the rock in. I would move the rock to a safer thing because you had other things that were in there that also you had that stained glass. There looks like a bunch of really expensive books in there, other things. Take it outside, lady. If you're going to do explosive right.
Yeah. So, but they don't. They close the door and they blow that shit up.
Also, the stores are amazing. Oh my god.
And Dean goes to grab the sword. And it pulls right out because it's broken in half.
Kill him. I would kill him. I would take that and I would stab him. And that would be Dean's Dateline episode. Okay, so we leave that happens, and I'm just every time. It gets me every fucking time. All right. And we're gonna cut back to Portland. Because he takes his toothpick with him.
Yes. And Sam makes kind of a joke about it, but then also Sam doesn't say shit except that he's isolated the sewer location. And he's ready to go.
Just keeping some things to yourself, Sam?
Uh-huh. So as they start searching the sewer system, which is apparently quite stinky, as you could expect.
Sewer system.
Yeah. They've been searching for hours, find nothing, and then all of a sudden they stumble upon a pile of gold on the floor.
Just oops, I dropped my pile of gold in the middle of this hallway.
It's a very weird placement. It makes no sense. It's just there.
I think it's supposed to be the dragon's hoard.
Yeah, but it's a tiny pile. And it's in a weird spot, against the wall. It's not even in a cubby hole. It's just awkward.
It's somebody tried to it's what they would have in the commercial for buy my gold. That was.
Yeah, because it's also not gold things that people would generally have a lot around. There's
it's just
a lot of coins and giant goblets, and I'm like.
Okay, all right, you with your hoard. All right, but now we get an altar. Do you love an altar?
Yeah, I know you do. We've got a bound book. We got candles. We got herbs. It's a little arts and crafty for a giant bat.
And I'm just how do bats do arts and crafts? And then I'm oh my god, bats doing arts and crafts. Someone make this happen.
But then they hear yells for help.
Because those girls are still crying. They're still fucking crying. Ladies, come on.
So they find the trapped girls, and as they're trying to free them, a bat dragon dude, because I didn't know what else to call at this point, attacks Sam.
Hi, you're a dragon. What? You're not a dragon? That's weird. I don't know. Okay, you're a dragon, I guess.
But Dean manages to cut him with the sword, and it hurts him. And the guy's the bat dragon dude is shocked and wants to know where it came from. Dean tells him it came from Comic-Con.
Fair.
So we get a good fight scene. The sword, they kick they knock the sword out of Dean's hand, and he's got his crazy glowy red hand, which we know it can like melt metal, so it probably would hurt a person pretty bad too.
Yeah, I don't want to be slapped with that hand. That sounds pretty bad.
But they're fighting, and then all of a sudden, wait, there's two of these guys?
There's another dragon bro. And this dragon bro looks like he may be attractive, but we can't really tell because he just like kind of only in and out.
And he's got his glowy hand coming now, and Sam makes the decision to kill glowy hand number 2 dragon first, and then turns back and number 1's gone.
Okay, yeah.
Damn it. But the good news, I guess, is they can save the girls.
I guess the girls are fine.
I guess.
I don't know. At least we don't have to go through like them like freeing them and watching like what happens during that freeing. Like, oh man, there was like Dean douchebaggery there. But so we cut back from what we assume are them freeing the girls to the junkyard.
In the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the junkyard. And Dean is playing with his pile of gold that he jacked from the Horde.
And Sam's just like, why don't you Scrooge McDuck that shit? And I would be.
Yeah. So Sam sits down and apologizes to Dean for, quote, you know what.
Uh-oh.
Basically, he lets loose that Castiel told him what's going on, and Sam thinks that he should be able to know, and that Dean's just annoyed though. He's like, "Look, there's things you don't know could kill you, so no, you shouldn't know these things." But Sam's like, "Yeah, but I have to be able to set things right."
Yeah, and
it's not.
But I like that he calls it the Great Wall of Sam.
Yeah. But
it also makes me imagine there's like other Sams like inside his head, like holding back like the other shit. Like, you can't go here. I guess it'd be the Wall of Sams.
Yeah, that'd be a Great Wall of Sams. Yeah. So, but Sam's just his attitude is like, look, I've got to be able to fix it, so I have to know what I did, because
now I got a soul and I care about shit. All right, whatever. All right.
Well, Bobby walks up because he's been reading that journal that they found on the altar, the notebook, the bound journal, and apparently it's from the 14th century.
No, call it a manuscript. Probably wouldn't call it a journal. And Bobby's real excited about it though, because what's it made of? What's it made of?
It's made of human skin.
Woohoo! And I know the word for that. I just can't remember right now. I don't care. All right. So basically, the book describes a terrible place, right? And we cut. Mm-hmm. What are we cutting to?
Headlights. It's number 1 dragon dude, and he's meeting a random bald dude.
It's another dragon. You can tell because they both have the terrible black fingernails painted. Dude, like, I love you goth dudes. I love it. But you don't look good with black fingernails. Like, maybe one. Do the one fingernail. Do like a pinky or something. I don't know. But anyway, so we got the other dragons, and he's got backup virgins.
Oh, yeah. He's got backup virgins.
Which still it's got to be really hard to find.
Full of virgins.
Yeah, I mean, like, they experience this in What We Do in the Shadows. Like, even like in the mid 2000s when this happens, like, that's supposed to still be hard to find that many virgin girls. And how do they determine it? Do they just know?
I think they just know because, like, they didn't have to touch that girl. They just took her ring off, and they're like, "Oh, you bitch! You shouldn't be wearing that."
But no, they went to her. I mean, they still thought she was like supposed to be one, right? And so, like, what?
Yeah, but they didn't imply that anything else happened.
I don't know. It's sus. All right.
So, Bald dude's got his van full of girls that are bound and gagged, pulls one out and takes it to number 1 dragon, and they go into the woods, the 3 of them.
So is the other one number 3 dragon now?
Correct.
Okay.
Number 2, it did. Number 2 dragon did. So they go into the woods, and we hear it's like while this is kind of happening, it goes back and forth. Bobby is talking about, Monsterland being what this book's written about. This manuscript is about, aka purgatory. Oh, purgatory, you say?
I would like some more whiskey
theme.
because I have a drinking problem. Which is this is what once again, AA. It's a thing, Dean. If you need it, Bobby, Sam, y'all might want to talk about it too. But anyway, so Bobby explains that it's not just this isn't just some book.
Yeah, no, they're this is all about purgatory. They're not just hanging out in the sewers. And it's not just like a book they left laying around. This is an instruction manual. It tells you how to open a door. But they have all but the last page, so they don't really have all the instructions.
And a couple of pertinent things. So Dean says that I know a demon who would have loved to have learned that. So we're going back to
Crowley.
Let's remember Crowley wanted to know how to get into purgatory. Sus, we got some dragons here. They're just opening a door to purgatory. That seems weird. And then something just an interesting fact. So okay, well we'll get to the next part, and then I'll go to an interesting fact. All right, go.
So we've got number 1 and number 3 dragon are at the edge of this cliff with this girl, and number 1 starts a chant, and there's fire down in the bottom, and he cuts his hand, he's bleeding into it, and then they throw her in, and Bobby's still talking because he's saying like, hey, that last sheet, this instruction from this manuscript isn't about how to open a door to go over there. It's about to open it up to let something out.
And the things that they're saying, which they're talking in Latin, basically translate to, I invoke you that indissolubly, I don't know what that fucking word is, that something bound to my power. So I guess I'm not binding it to my power. And great. All right. So you should come to me without delay. You should appear here immediately, mother. And this is actually this is, I think, really fun and interesting. This is actually taken from a very obscure manuscript preserved in the Bavarian State Library in Munich. And it is a manual of necromancy from the early 15th century, aka a grimoire. It's also known as the Codex Latinus Monacensis 849. It is not bound in human skin. That's a word. Anthropomorphically. That's a word. That's what it means. Anthropomorphically. That's when it's, yeah. That's what it means in the bound books. You can go look at them at Harvard. But in the first pages really are missing. So it's an actual book. If you go online, like I found some translations of it that you could buy, but the translations are in Russian. And so like, it's kind of weird. I don't really need it. Like I've got the PDF of it, but it's like in Russian. Right. So then I'm Google translating something was already a translate of like, so I'm pretty sure I'm just installing Russian malware in my system, but I'm not quite positive. Anyways, you can go find it. Like and if you go to Munich, you can read it, but it's been digitized. I'm just trying to find the version of it because like they've digitized a bunch of books in that library. But anyways, neat, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, also, it's called like, so there's a summary of one of them that was for sale on eBay, and it's called it Munich Demonic Magic. And you will find both household practices at that time, for example, to find a horse or to detect a thief. Make a castle invisible, and ways to gain a woman's love. Apparently, I don't know. That's what eBay says is in that book. I don't.
Huh. It sounds versatile.
Sure. You do a lot of things with this grimoire. I'm sorry. So, okay, the girl has been sacrificed.
She's been thrown over the ledge. Bobby's telling his story and ends with what they're trying to call is something called the mother of all. What does this harken back to for us? Haven't there been conversations with our alphas about mother?
Mother!
What? Mother. So back at our ledge,
Or
this
is
girl
it,
that was...
it goes, is it Mother of Dragons? And I was trying to, I did not, but I'm like, was this before or after Game of Thrones? I mean, I know Game of Thrones is out, but before like it became an HBO thing.
I think it was before.
Isn't that crazy?
It hasn't. They don't say
You did
Mother
it
of all,
first.
though. They don't say Mother of Dragons.
No, he does.
Does he?
Because they were trying to figure out what her name, what it meant, and he was like, "Does it mean Mother of Dragons?" I don't know. I have it in my notes. I say it so. Moving on.
So the girl floats back up though from the bottom of the cliff, and she's kind of looks a little dirty and beat, but also and kind of on fiery, but also better. So it's does that make sense?
Yeah. She all her woes, like, you know, from crying for 7 days have been cured, and now there's someone just riding that girl's meat suit, which is now we know why when the dragons were taking her away, they're like, you should be lucky. But I'm also like, what's up with the rest of the virgins?
Yeah, that's a lot.
You just needed one girl.
Yeah.
Why? What happens to the rest of them in the van? You just let them free?
Work? Like, are they backups in case this one didn't work?
No, I don't know. But anyhow,
yeah, it's super weird. But yeah, she tells number one that she just wants to get started.
Well, she's also pissed because she's been kept waiting, right? And she is the mother of all. She is here, and she has shit to do.
Yeah.
If you had done your job appropriately, I wouldn't have to wait on you. God damn it, just do your fucking job. All right. So speaking of do your fucking job, so just kidding, Diana. What do you have for casting couch?
Casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
Oh my gosh. So I'll kick off with our number one dragon. Was played by Ilya Volok. He has been actually in a lot of things, and I'm just going to be up front. A lot of them are smaller roles and have the word Russian in them. So
Russian gangster, Russian
yes, Russian man, Russian businessman. Like it was actually like it is not a knock on him or his career. Do you? Awesome, good job, you know, all that. But it was kind of funny scrolling through his IMDb. But specific roles: Vladimir Kraskin in Air Force One, Rasputin in Monkey Bone, Harry in The Soloist, and then he plays Master Org in Power Rangers Wild Force, the series. We've got also your beloved Dr. Eleanor Viziak. It's played by Kim Johnston Ulrich.
She looks like a Kim, doesn't she? Yeah,
she does.
And then she also has super Kim Cattrall vibes.
That's probably why it is. Yeah. So no, she's done a lot of just single episode work, but did have a major ongoing role in Passions, so like soapy stuff.
No. So Passion, why I know Passions is because of Buffy, and all I can think is Spike going, "Tammy's still down the well," because that's a show where I need to go back and watch. That's a show where like they eventually just like made a doll like start haunting, and like it got real weird.
Yeah, it gets real weird. Yeah, and then she was also Terry in the 1988 film Spellcaster. Good B films. So Penny, our not very good co-pilot, was played by Darla Taylor. She was Olivia in Kindergarten Cop 2. Melissa, who was our girl that shouldn't be wearing a promise ring, was played by Jodie Balfour. It was Michaela in the movie Vampire from 2011. Gladys in a series called Bomb Girls, and plays Jack Danvers in Ted Lasso. And then we've got one of our other prisoners was Christy Dawn Dinsmore. She's Amma in Vikings and Amy in the Day of the Dead series. Number 2 dragon was Lee Tishon, who's on Andreas in Tooth Fairy. And then Eve, that's what they call here, is played by Julia Maxwell. Julia Maxwell, you would recognize as Lucy in Hot Tub Time Machine, Jane in the movie Goblin from 2010, Rachel in Charlie St. Cloud, and played Francine in the series Hell on Wheels.
Yeah, so good.
It's a good cast.
Yeah, it's just, for the ensemble, like it was a bunch of like, I don't know, I think there was a bunch of like, I won't call bit, but like there were small roles in here that just I thought were all, everyone was great. It was just like such a good episode, and sadly I think we may come back to her eventually, I don't know, but I love her a lot. I just think she's a great, like, just the style is obvious. I'm not gonna go on, like, just want to be her. I want to be the concept of her, like that's the grown up like you want. I want to be, right, like, oh, right, like I will never be that grown up. Like I said, like I am too much of a mess to be that grown up. But if I could be her. So I said at the beginning of this, we are out of Bummer. We're 0 episodes since Bummerland.
Yeah, super fun.
What did you think?
I mean, I were really stressful that Dean's insisting on lying to Sam, but that wasn't Bummersville about it. It was a fun episode. Again. All right. So,
hey,
boys, never learn.
Yeah, and this is one of the supernatural tropes. I don't call it trope or whatever. It's just a thing they do, and I'm just like, I don't know. I kind of get over it. Really, like, stop. I just don't like people. One, I don't like people lying to each other. Yeah. In general, it makes me uncomfortable and awkward, and so I think I feel bad when the boys do it to each other. And also, just gaslighting someone's never cool. It's just not. Tell the truth.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Even it was you fucked a girl who smelled like patchouli.
That's true. He did.
I mean, is that the last thing you tell him? You're like, by the way.
Or do you lead with that?
I probably would start with, and because there are things Sam needs to know, because I would be like, Sam, you should probably go get tested for a bunch of STIs. You were very, very busy this last year. We noticed that you were picking up a lot of skanky women. And I love a skank. No shame on you, but you should probably get tested. Yeah. No.
Because do you care about protection when you don't have a soul?
Probably not. I'm betting like condoms
or
are
you
like
super practical, and that's very, very sensitive.
And it's just like, I only came on her stomach. It's fine. Just. I'm so glad my mom won't ever listen to this. Although apparently one of my aunts does. I don't know if I believe that or not, but my cousin told me that she was like, no, that's Lisa showed him. Oh, okay. So Aunt Pam, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, I enjoy this episode. I think we get. It's a very small, like I think there's, I don't know. It's hard being like I know what's happening, right? So because we're only in we're episode 12 of the season,
mm-hmm.
So I feel like this feel like there's a big bad reveal, right?
Yeah,
and she's cute.
We just got I think we just got our big bad, and then I think I think it's a nice light one. My one complaint, and this is not just like. I feel like this is not being needy or asking too much. I feel like if you're going to have an episode about dragons, we needed at least one like good dragon silhouette at least.
Yeah, I do appreciate I thought it was clever, the way that they addressed it, like without spending a lot of money. There's a lot of flapping, and they did a lot of things. Like if you read into the effects, like when the dragon's around, they would do like have really low voices, like in the background. So there's stuff like I think they did a really excellent job of it. I get it, like just like I want to see what your bat wings look like. Like,
yeah, I don't even need like
are they like
view, like a night.
I mean, are they Affleck bat wings? Are they Kilmer bat wings? Like, are they like what kind of wings are they? Like
that's my complaint. I would have liked at least just one good silhouette. Like, I don't even need the real thing; just a fucking silhouette would have made me happy.
Yeah, I mean, they also made them super creepy, right? Like, they made dragons like really fucking creepy. Like, these dudes they're gross.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just like like.
And they have weldy hands.
They have weldy hands, and they're just going at like
snatching virgins.
But they haven't been around for like 700 years, right? So I don't think that was addressed.
Where the fuck have they been?
So yeah, I guess maybe some things are probably still going to come up. But yeah, I mean, It was a fun. It was a fun episode. Totally fun. I thought like, and we get our first like, oh, puppy dog Sam is back. Boom. It was just like, it was an immediate like jump. But I also think like, I was thinking about when I was watching this earlier that Jared Padalecki though did like such a conscious, at least like his choices that he made as Soulless Sam were so deliberate that the switch to Sam has a soul is super obvious, right? And there have been talks, interviews with Jensen Ackles where he said he really hated like working with Soulless Sam because it was like he'd spent all this time developing this relationship with Jared Padalecki's characters for that other Sam, right? So you can really see the acting choices, and I think that's really impressive. Like,
I agree,
but also just personal preference, like the emotionally unavailable Sam, except for the Bobby thing. Don't kill your dad.
It's not very nice.
It's not nice. Patricide is never a good thing. It's just not. All right, I think on that note, let me put that on a shirt. Patricide, never a good thing. All right, cheers, shirt.
Cheers, bitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Get It production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios podcast network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.